They have this idea that we're these like crazy, like, oh, we're the next Hitler or something.
And they don't even want to listen to ideas.
No, they don't. They're
like, if someone even mentions, like, oh, I want to preserve my race. Oh, whoa, all right, that's Nazi stuff.
This liberalism has spread throughout our country, and as I've said, I don't blame those who believe it because the facts give you no choice. If the facts are as they say they are, the Jews are wonderful, Negroes are even better, then we ought to mix. Jews ought to run the country, and we might as well fold up. Us white Christians, we got no business trying to run our country. But that isn't a fact.
We want more diversity in all aspects of society, really. It's tiring seeing the same white male mediocre faces.
Identity Europa, my fault.
Yeah.
Identity Europa, it's a pro-white group that's for white identity and for a white country. We're almost a minority. Like the white race is a minority.
It's starting to happen. Everybody's talking about our inevitable brown future, and it's just really sickening.
This is not going to go unchallenged. We're going to be here. We're going to confront them with as much power as they're going to come at us with. So we want them to know that they're not going to get away with this, and this won't stand. It has stood for 500, 400 years already, and now we're done with it, and it's not going to stand anymore.
I'm trying to form a movement to create the vigor and the strength to stop the decay and the rot that is happening in America. We are being purposefully rotted. The soul of America is being rotted out by germs. It is being, at every point that you want to look, you will find it being consciously and purposefully turned rotten.
A lot of them are young boys our age who feel they don't have a place in society, similar to us. And while I'm not saying I forgive them, I'm saying that what they're choosing, a life of fascism and hate, will only bring you so much. We will continue to make you afraid to be outside. Your family will hate you. Society will not accept you. You will be alone in your room forever unless you choose to join the side of love and the people who are actually fighting to make this a country where we can all live our fullest selves.
Everybody just gets angry when people talk about, like, white issues. It's like there's never a white issue. You guys are on top all the time. For the most part, European people built Western civilization.
Exactly. The UN has a migration plan to replace whites.
You're getting rid of the roots of our country.
Our country has reached the point where we will tolerate anything. There is literally no limit to what will be tolerated. And the time has got to come where you draw the line at something, when you say, this is immoral and wrong and we're going to put a stop to it.
This play that they put on at Charlottesville, the way that there was literally people murdered, there was a reporter here with her hand broken. She was at the Charlottesville and she had a cut on her face, her hand was broken. Honestly, I don't want to be pessimistic, but if that's how the alt-right is presenting themselves and that's how they're demonstrating, I don't really see any other way that the country's going to go except for war and violence. Because if they're not going to back down, if they're not going to listen to us and listen to what we have to say and understand that we're all one people, that's ultimately what it's going to come to.
And there's like a conflict between us and the fucking Oath Keepers, and we're not doing nothing.
They're punching right.
When you punch right, you fuck up and you lose. That's what these Oath punks do. They punch right and they keep doing it. They don't listen. They don't understand. They don't get it. They think that we're going to be saved by the Constitution, that we're going to be saved by conservatism. No, conservatism hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. Nationalism is the only way forward.
The oppressed here are black. I won't argue with that. They got a tough life and they need help. But the commies have moved in and said, now we're going to help you good people. We're going to have marches, and lie-ins, and crawl-ins, and squirm-ins, and wet-ins, and everything we can. And all these things going on, and they get you people to go down to Selma and help them.
I do think if we want to escape a future of violence, we need to push this further, because the alt-right, they have nothing to lose. And we still cling on to this ideal of like a middle ground. There's no middle ground here. You can't, if we're silent, then the Nazis will win.
I found out that the communists are doing to my country just what they did to Germany in the 20s. Exactly the same inflation, the same insanity, the same destruction of law and order, the same inflation is almost here, the same riots, the same bedlam, and the same Jews operating it.
The main one thing that unites the entire right is free speech. And the problem is that we don't want just free speech. We want to stop being a minority. We don't want to be a hated class.
It's more or less getting more people away from the alt-right notions of civic nationalism versus ethno-nationalism.
So I became a Nazi because I found out what a Nazi is. A Nazi is a man who believes in the white race above all things. Adolf Hitler said the white race is a master race. That doesn't mean we have to persecute anybody else, but it means we've got to keep our own country white.
We need to start taking Nazis and white supremacists a lot more seriously than it seems like people are taking them now. Right, exactly. I feel that people who are surprised by the racism that they've been seeing in the past few weeks, they're saying this is not what America is like. It is, and it has been for centuries. So we need to understand that, we need to internalize that and realize that that's what our country is built on and figure out how to fight it from there. We're not gonna let this shit stand, basically.
If Israel is a Jewish country and has the right to be Jewish, if Ghana is a black country and has the right to be black, why don't we have the right to keep a white country white? Hitler discovered that this is going far enough, and he stopped it in Germany. They have got millions of good, sincere Americans, like many of you out here, helping them to do it, because you really believe you're helping to build a better world.
It's not really becoming an option anymore to converse with these groups, to converse with people of the alt-right, because they're not going to move from the next step of ethno-nationalism.
No American in the history of this country has ever backed down because somebody beat on him, or called him sick, or threw stuff at him. No American worthy of the name, and I'm not about to. We say this: you don't have to be red, and you don't have to be dead. Not dead, not red, dead reds.
A lot of people are talking about a civil war.